We are tonight's entertainment.
You can't handle the truth.
The fire rises.
Pizza time.
You're a wizard, Harry.
So it begins.
You know how much I sacrifice?
You think that's air you're breathing?
Groovy.
I don't have friends. I got family.
We are sex people! 1, 2, 3, 4!
Craft Services.
Hello, listeners. This is Parth Marathe signing back on to do a Trentless intro. You may be wondering what I had to eat most recently, and you're going to be interested because last night I went to go see a press screening for Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day. I went to the AMC Empire in New York, and we were supposed to see it at 7 p.m. in IMAX, and then the theater had technical difficulties and pushed the screening to 9 o'clock. I was still game. I was there with my good friend and friend of the pod, Adam Volerich, and we waited until 9 p.m., and then they pushed it to 9:30 p.m., and then by the time I got to 9:38 p.m., I was unsure whether the movie would actually happen, and so I decided to go to Penn Station and just go home because we had been waiting for, at that point, 2.5 hours. And then while I was in Penn Station, I saw a delectable treat, a glazed donut from Krispy Kreme, and thought it would be a nice gift to bring home to my apartment. So I bought a half dozen glazed donuts, one of which I had for breakfast this morning, along with my classic chai. But what's even more classic, folks, is the intro. Welcome back to Craft Services, where we talk about the movies. Each week we talk about a film and hopefully have a crew member of that film to talk with us about their experience working on the picture. This week, we are continuing our conversation with cinematographer Natasha Braier. She was the DP on I Love Boosters, Boots Riley's next film, or latest film. It's out in theaters right now. Myself and producer Loyo Velazquez, we saw it at a press screening with Boots Riley in attendance, and it was a really fun time, so I would really recommend you guys go out to theaters and watch it, and then listen to part 2 of our conversation, because I think it's really interesting. I think Natasha gives some cool insight into the making of this movie. She also gets into this cinematographer forum thing that she's been building from the ground up. She talks a little bit about that towards the end, so I kind of want to let you guys hear it for yourselves. Here we have Natasha Braier. Cue the interview. One thing that we haven't touched on yet, which it happens earlier in the movie, so I don't think it's too big of a deal, but Demi Moore's character lives in a tilted apartment. I think, and I believe I saw online that it was the set was built at an actual angle of 15 degrees. Can you talk about, physically, practically shooting that? Like, how did you go about that, and what were some of the challenges that came along with that?
Well, just to get it built was a challenge because it was quite expensive. Have endless meetings about it, and Boots is a great negotiator, so we got to build it in the end. And we're trying to make tests on the inclination, but obviously you can't really build like a whole platform. So with the production designer, Chris Glass, he was building us like some, 6 feet ramps, right? For us to see the inclination. And somehow when you see it on a small scale, it doesn't feel inclined enough. But then when you do it big, so at the end, when we did settle for the 15%, we were like, oh, well, it's like one of those kind of compromises of low budget filmmaking. Like, this is what we can do. This is what we can afford. We knew that more than that, it was going to be very tricky for the actors and stuff. Already, 15% was a lot. So we're like, okay, let's do 15%. And then when we came on the day when they were starting, when they built the structure, we're like, oh my God, this is really crazy. So it was really great. We were all getting a little bit dizzy shooting there because your body, once you're walking on the set, your body is all the time like trying to kind of find the balance, right? Find the horizon. So the actors, or like, the me is wearing like sneakers because there was no way you could wear high heels or anything like that there without killing yourself. Sometimes they have to be harnessed. At the beginning, they said everyone is going to have to be harnessed. And then when we were there, we're like, come on, we can all wear like shoes with grip and, we can work. Otherwise, we're going to be here for a month.
We'll still be shooting the movie now.
Yeah, but we were close, like I think a bit more angle, and then it would have been, like everyone will have to be harnessed. We shot a lot of it with a techno crane, but some moments we shot with Steadicam. And my Steadicam operator, Matias Mesa, was actually great. And so at the beginning, I thought he can't do it. Like he's not going to be able to keep horizon and balance. This is because also, the floor of the set has all these lines. So the whole thing is like a kind of acid trip. So we were more concerned at the beginning about safety, and then it was actually okay. But it was more like the shock for the system, at the beginning. So I thought that we were not going to be able to do anything that wasn't on the crane. So we have a techno with a big arm. I don't know which one it was. I can't remember. Maybe 35, so that we could move, easily and reposition easily inside the set. But then we did some scenes like when Kiki and Demi meet and they have their dialogue. We ended up doing that on Steadicam. Matthias was just walking around them, and he was totally fine. So we could have done more thoroughly with the Steadicam.
He must be like a strong guy if he can do it at an angle.
He's not only strong, but I think he's good on boats. So that's why.
That's actually great experience. You mentioned that you shot some of this in LA. I believe like the majority was shot in Atlanta, which was sort of doubling for Oakland. How long was the shoot, and how long were you involved, from start to finish?
So I think the shoot was like 39 days, if I remember correctly, in Atlanta, principal photography. And then months later, we did, then when we came back, we started to do the miniatures, which I only kind of joined for, the first days to establish the parameters. And then they continued to shoot for like 3 months or something. Parallel to that, we had the stop motion team shooting for another few months, and they were in Oakland. So they came to the shoot, they took all the measurements for the lenses, the angles, the lighting, everything, and they did their own thing over there. And they did an amazing work. Like everything matches super well. And we have a lot of interactive lighting, in the chase sequence for the elements that are done in stop motion. And it's like amazing. So I was super, super happy with that. So then many, many months after these units were done, then we had the plates from the miniatures. So then we went to the virtual production stages in LA. We used Fuse, and we shot 3 days of virtual production at Fuse, where we were putting our real van and the actresses immersed in the plates, in the environments that were miniature environments. And sometimes they're not driving, they're actually on foot also inside the volume.
You mentioned lenses. Could you just let us know what camera you shot on, what lenses you chose, more technical stuff?
Yes, we shot on Alexa 35, and we had a very special set of lenses created for us by Dan Sasaki. So I wanted something that looked very soft and vintage, like the movies that Boots and I were referring to. For example, Costa Rica, Black Cat, White Cat, and other older movies that were very analog, but also not clean, like grainy and rough. And I don't know, they have a lot of life, to them. They're not this kind of like clinical perfection of the digital. And we had to shoot the movie on digital because of budgetary reasons. But we wanted to make it look super organic and as film as possible. So there's a lot of things from the cinematography point of view that you have to do to achieve that. But it all starts with the lenses. So we wanted to shoot anamorphic. So my to-go option would be to go to Panavision to get some old glass. But we also wanted to have very close focus, because Woods really loves to be very close to the characters and for certain emotional moments to really go like 4 inches, close. So you cannot do that with most of the beautiful old school anamorphic lenses that I like. So I needed to have those two qualities in the same lens. And also I needed to be able to shoot them quite wide open because we had a lot of scenes that were at night in the chase sequence and, scenes where I was going to need to work with available light and just have more stop. So I went to Dan Sasaki, and like always when I start a process with him to build me some custom-made lenses, I explain everything I was looking for. We look at the lenses that were the visual reference for me, which were the Crystal Express by Joe Danton, who are the lenses that I love the most in the whole world. I really, really love how they look. And I'm always trying to, when I can't use them because they are not right for a movie because of the technical limitations, I'm always trying to replicate the way they look with something else. So I always bring the challenge to them. And it's always like, can you make it look like the crystals, but also give me, so and so, whatever I need for a movie. So we did that for this movie. And he basically built the lenses they're kind of Frankensteins from some old B series, which are anamorphics, Panavision anamorphics from the 50s, and even older pieces of glass that he had lying around from the 30s. And then we did a whole process of back and forwards where he's doing some stuff, and then we see it in projection. And I ask him to, put more astigmatism, put more aberration in the edges, like really, fuck it up as much as he can, really, to make it look imperfect and to make the skins to go quite porcelain and with this kind of a bit romantic, old school look. The movie is talking about something that is very much today, but at the same time, it's creating its own unique world that is a little bit sci-fi and a little bit surreal, right? So I wanted to bring a little bit of that kind of romantic analog feel in the texture of the movie. And so the lenses were doing a lot of that work for us. And then he also built me something that we call the digital chorizo, because I have another device that I built myself, which is to flare the matte box and create like a sort of flashing effect that is called the chorizo. So he built me the digital chorizo, the optical chorizo, not the digital, the optical chorizo. And basically that was like a small piece of something that is made of lithium. And I'm not sure what is it. So he would call it the lithium, which then was baptized as the optical chorizo. But basically some sort of new substance, lithium something. And it's like, it looks kind of like a ground glass in a way, but more transparent. But you put it in between the lens and the sensor. And it's basically designed to make the highlights refract in a very specific way. Like they just refract in a chaotic way, which imitates what the Crystal Express are doing and what all these movies that I was referring to him from the 30s have, and that they were making, the skins, these black and white old movies where the skins are all like totally flawless and porcelain and stuff. So he built the lithium for me. And so we were using the lenses with the lithium in between the lenses and the sensor. And that was really beautiful because the girls just look amazing, whatever crazy lighting they were under. I love the skin quality that they have. So that was super cool.
Awesome. Sort of as we start to close out, when you look at the film in totality, was there a hardest scene to shoot and a scene that you're most proud of?
I never thought about this question yet. I guess I should have my answers prepared. The hardest thing for us to shoot was the fashion show. Because this is a small movie. We also got to shoot the fashion show towards the end of the movie when you're running out of money. So we didn't have all these extras that you need to have to fill the space. So we had to tile them. And I think for every shot, we had to tile like 6 times or 8 times or something like that. So that was kind of crazy. So we had to be very simple in our approach of amount of shots so that we would have the time to tile all the extras. And so that was tricky because it's a very complex scene. It's long. The climax of the movie, a lot of things are happening there. So really to kind of marry this, the time efficiency and kind of getting the scope. This is like a big venue with a big event happening, it's like the closing of the movie, and at the same time having to cover a lot of dialogue, a lot of different scenes that are happening in that place. It's kind of like a lot of scenes in one main scene. So that was really challenging. We had to plan a lot and we had to go really fast. So I was really stressed there. And I think we succeeded. I mean, it's very simple.
I didn't notice any of the tiling or anything.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I think we succeeded. I mean, it would have been great to have, a couple more time and a bit more money. But I think we survived. And the scene I'm the most proud of, I don't know. That I had to really think about it. But I'm so proud of the whole movie. I love the movie so much. I think it's I feel like I kind of made a career and a life of extreme decisions, probably my life even more extreme than in my career. And I feel like everything that I've done is always risky and bold, and I'm challenging myself, and I'm definitely getting out of my comfort zone, and I'm choosing these directors that take me in crazy rides where I can, do things that I haven't done before and that are visually exciting, and 90% of the time I'm very proud of the journeys and the results. But this one is kind of like on steroids. Like I just feel like it just went to a place that I guess I didn't think it was possible to. I mean, I could read it in the script, but I just didn't think at the time that we were going to achieve all of this with our budget. We did. We all worked very hard, and Boots is really a visionary, and he managed to get us to do it all and do it in a great way. And I'm just super proud of every frame of it. Every scene and all the sweat and tears that it was to take it to the big screen. With our resources, but I feel like it's like Neon Demon on steroids. Like I feel I've never done something as crazy as this.
It's one of the more wild movies you'll see in theaters this year.
Yeah, so I love it. I'm really crossing my fingers that it does very well this weekend, and that people go and see it, and then they go and see it again. It's one of those movies that is so packed, like there's so much going on, and it goes fast that you need to see it again. And there's a lot of people that told me, like, they are ready, like they just saw it and they're ready to see it like as soon as it comes out. Like if it would have been in the cinema, they would have gone out of the movie and go back in again, that kind of loop. And I understand. I think it is, it is one of those movies, and it's great because it's got a lot of layers of a lot of stuff going on, and it's entertaining, and it's funny, and it's kind of refreshing to have so much color and liveness in the movie and celebration of that. But at the same time, it's super deep. It has a deep message, and it has a deep kind of call to action, for people to do, the small revolutionary gestures that each of us can do in our daily lives to work more together and to help each other more, and don't really surrender to this idea that, this is the world we're living and there's nothing we can do about it to make it better. Like we can. There's a lot of things that you can do. So one thing you can do is go to the cinema and watch this movie and get inspired. And that's a good start.
Well, that's great. Natasha, are you working on anything that you can talk about?
I'm preparing a movie, and I actually would rather not talk about it because I don't want to put a course, because we just had to postpone because we lost an actor, and we are in the process of recasting and putting all the
pieces back
together. So I'm gonna be a bit superstitious about it, but I'm really, really excited. It's with another amazing visionary director that I deeply admire, and we've already been working for a few weeks in prep. And it's going to be completely different to Boosters, but really, really, really also visually stunning. and deep as well, with a very deep message that is also very important, more to do with environment and what we're doing to nature and all that.
Well, fingers crossed we'll be talking about it in like a year or two,
Yes.
whatever it is. And you've reached the Big Kahuna final question. And the Big Kahuna final question is just, what is the last great movie you've watched? And it can be a rewatch or first time watch, but it can't just be good. It has to be great.
I haven't been to the cinema much lately because I've been super busy.
Too busy working
And on the prep of this movie, but I also have this project that I've been working on for a few years called Deep Light, which is this community for cinematographers. And I'm kind of giving birth to it now. Like we launched like a year ago almost. And it's like an online platform where like cinematographers can meet each other. There's a forum where they can talk about all sort of subjects, from lenses and filters all the way to like on-set politics and navigating like, all of those things of the job that are not the technical things, but are actually the most difficult things, such as trying to create a place that it just helps cinematographers to be a bit less lonely in their path, which is usually like a kind of solo climb. And we also have mentorships and workshops and showreel clinics, website clinics, and things like that. So it's been very intense. We just did a lab with Bradford Young at Panavision in LA live 2 months ago or a month and a half ago. So I've been kind of like putting that together, and we're doing my mentorship program at the end of the month. So a lot of my free time goes to the service that I want to give with Deep Light to the new generation of filmmakers. So I don't get to have a life so much in the last few years, and I haven't almost been to the cinema because literally every hour that I'm not working and that I have off, I'm kind of dedicating to this project. So it's really hard to answer because it's very sad, but I did go to see Project Hail Mary, and I loved
great.
it.
Yeah, did you see it in IMAX?
Yes, that's the only movie I saw probably in the cinema in the last, I don't know, in the year, probably this year.
Well, I hope everything goes all right, and I hope you can get to the theater sometime soon. Thank you so much, Natasha Braier. She's the cinematographer behind films like She Said, Honey Boy, The Neon Demon, and our film for today, Boots Riley's I Love Boosters. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having it.
What an interview, folks. Not to brag, but did that one myself. Thank you so much to cinematographer Natasha Braier for coming on the show. We really appreciate her time, really appreciate her insight, and most importantly, we really liked the film that she made with Boots Riley. Make sure to go check out I Love Boosters. It's in theaters everywhere right now, I think. So make sure to support a weird indie art film. It was a really good time. But what's also a really good time is going to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, really wherever you get your podcasts, listening to the episode, which, if you've gotten to this point in the episode, you've done already. But if you're there, just give us a 5-star rating or leave a nice review, because it really does help. And if you want to stay updated when episodes are coming out, I mean, they come out every Sunday, but everyone forgets stuff. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, because you're going to get some updates there. And one of those updates might just be our guest for next week. This is a really cool, exciting guest that I was really hopeful this interview would happen, but I was not 100% sure because of how cool it was going to be. But we have director Kane Parsons on to talk about directing Backrooms. I got to see the movie early. I think by the point that episode comes out, the movie will be out. And I think our conversation with Kane is pretty interesting. And I can't wait to release it next week. Again, you can hear it on all your major podcasting platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, etc. And guys, we are up to date, finally, on YouTube. I think when we release Backrooms, that's going to be our first fully up-to-date on YouTube episode. Pretty exciting. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye.